like to discuss a topic which people are familiar with, the Maimer Chazal, and I believe they only have a nebulous understanding of the concept. And it's a fascinating concept. Jealousy. I don't know if anybody ever heard of that idea. There's such a... is jealousy a good thing or a bad thing? So I'll just start with a medrash. The medrash in Bereshit says that if it wouldn't be for jealousy, people wouldn't build, people wouldn't have children, people wouldn't go to work. It's always because you see somebody else that gets you going. So it seems to be some kind of a primer for the pump to have people do what they're supposed to do. Yet we know that jealousy is what causes the most destruction in the world. Now, just to confuse matters, I don't like things to be so simple, so I'm going to bring a different Maimer Chazal, which is well known, and this is the one that really makes us have to think about it. Kinas Seifrim Tar B'Chochma. I'm not sure I know how to translate that exactly in the vernacular, but when people who are in the Beis Medrash, so then that causes everybody to learn better. Okay, is that a good translation?
Or another Maisa.
What?
Another Maisa will open up.
Oh, yeah, whatever, right? So why doesn't this work in the workplace? Why is there something magical about Torah that their kinna is different? Or perhaps the kinna that we're talking about when we're speaking about Torah is a different kind of a kinna. And if we come to that conclusion, which Amir Hashem we will, then we're going to have to explain the two different kinds of kinna. Now, there's a famous story twice in the Torah. Both, I believe that most people just shrug their shoulders and say, yeah, there must be some kind of an inyan like that. And we chuck it up to some kind of a sophisticated Kabbalistic thing. And then we're putter, we don't have to learn about it. So I'm going to approach that subject. What I'm saying tonight mostly is not my own. Avram and Sarah did not have children. So Avram says, take Hagar as a wife, ulai ibona mimeno. We'll just leave those words hanging for a second. In this week's Parsha, Rachel is jealous of her sister, so it seems. Leah already has children. V'tamer Yaakov havoli banim. Vayichar Yaakov b'Rachel. And he says, I'm not God. So we take the emergency kvish okef. V'tamer hine amosi bila bo'elel v'teler abirkai. Listen to the words. Have her give birth to children, and will be like my children. V'ibone gam anoichi mimeno. What do those words mean? V'ibone gam anoichi mimeno. And I will also be boine from her. So I don't know, check on Art Scroll, but I don't think it's going to help. What does it mean? So there's a Sapurna over here, which sheds light on this pasuk, and it's going to cause us problems. Says this Sapurna, V'ibone gam anoichi, k'mo achoisi. I'll have children just like my sister, because I gave Bilhah as a wife, so I will have children, not like Sarah somehow that you should have children and that'll be like my children. Mimeno shebekinas yerech haverosi, with that which I am jealous of my sister, yis'orer hateva. I have nothing to say, but what does that mean? Yis'orer hateva, I could say yis'orer rachamim, yis'orer tefillah, yis'orer hateva. What teva is there to be nis'orer? And jealousy is going to do it. This is the question. So here, at least we found a key, or perhaps a keyhole, into the concept that there's such a thing as jealousy, and jealousy will bring about something that wasn't there before. So, I would like to start with two very simple cases of jealousy. I was looking for a job, and my friend was looking for a job, and he got the job and I didn't. I translate that, he took my job. Okay, that's what jealousy means. He took my job. That's very destructive. So then you go to some mashkiach and he tells you everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he has his job and you have your job, and then you tell the mashkiach, and your job is to quiet me down, right? Right? Perhaps that's true. Now, let's speak about a different case. I'll share with you perhaps a question of tiskul. This is a fascinating question that I asked somebody, and the person who answered me the question sent me reeling. It's a very unfortunate situation. I got a phone call from somebody I don't know, and he says to me that there's a chassan in college just got married this week, and they have a major issue, and I was told to send them to you to deal with their issue. So I said, what's the issue? He said, they'll tell you. Okay. So this chassan in college come, fancy new suit, fancy new dress, and they tell me as follows. This is a fantastic situation. About 2 months before they got married, after they're engaged, the mother of the kala saw a pattern of some kind of problem with her children, and she decided to do some genetic testing. And all the girls in the family did genetic testing. Today, the results came back, and this kala is a carrier of some genetic problem that they can have a mefletzet is katan, some kind of monster-like children. And this fell on the chassan and kala during Shabbat Brachas, and this was my job to deal with this problem. Now, I wasn't really sure what am I supposed to be doing. Where do I fit in over here? I don't know. I learned through a lot of your Yeridea, and for some reason I didn't find the sif that deals with this situation. So, what do I do when I have these kind of questions that I have no answers for? I'm a spal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Usually HaKadosh Baruch Hu answers them, not me. I'm fine. They're the ones with the problem. So I'm being a spal for them. And many times HaKadosh Baruch Hu has me be zeichet to be the vehicle. I will just skip the story right now, just she shouldn't feel bad. As of today, they have 4 children, regular, normal children, through normal ways of having children, beating the odds, And maybe perhaps one day we'll discuss that miracle unto itself. But that's just, you shouldn't be left with that dilemma. So I spoke to the chassid, I spoke to the kala individually, and then I spoke to them together. When I spoke to the chassid, I asked him, you know, they didn't do this to you. They just found out today. It wasn't like, you could be mad at... nobody knew anything. It was just called bad luck that it fell out during your Sheva Brachos. What is your biggest emotional challenge now? Okay? And he said to me something which blew my mind. I feel HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers me a baby. So I said, how's that? Where'd that come from? Sometimes it says, what's what you think? He said, no, you can't have children regular ways. You have to do other kinds of ways because I have to take you by the hand. They can't let you do this like a grown-up. This was his biggest issue. Okay? So this is just a asterisk. Don't ever think you know what's going through somebody else's mind. Okay? Because there's no way that you would know, because it's probably not what you think. Okay? So there's so many things which one could have assumed would be this guy's issue, and that was his issue, and we dealt with that issue. As I told you, Baruch Hashem, the story's good, Baruch Hashem, till now, halavai weiter. So now, a person doesn't have children, and their friend, their roommate, got married the same night as them, has 5 children, and you're jealous. So your friend says, what are you jealous about? He says, you have 5 children, I have none. He said, would you like one? This is not the case of the job. If we're going to have Reuven give Shimon a child, it doesn't address the issue. But we'll give you adoption papers. We'll let you have. So this is the catch. This is the question. In the first case, Reuven feels legitimate for being jealous of Shimon because Shimon took his job. Nobody thinks that Reuven's 5 children were on the back of Shimon. He didn't take his children. There was no mix-up. So what are you jealous about? We have 2 jealousies, and I believe that both of them we understand exist. One, perhaps we can understand the struggle. The other, at least when it's not you, it's utterly ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason for Shimon to be jealous of Reuven that he has 5 kids. Hayat Hashem Tiktzah, you could have 6 at a time. There's no big deal over here. What does the fact that he have children have to do with you? So, I'm just going to go into human nature just a bit. There must be something wrong with me that Hashem is picking on me. And how do I know it? Varaya, look at all those normal kids, they have people that have 5 kids, and I don't have any. So I'm jealous, just like that guy who has 4 children. There must be some deficiency in me and something in him. That's one way we can understand this. This is me talking right now. I'm not quoting any Torah sources. And when I say that's fine, I need to say, let's put it, I'm not discussing whether it's correct, the proper approach or not. But we have an understanding of what's going on. Now, I would like to share with you something which we've all gone through this in different venues. I'll take the simplest. You're 7, 8 years old, and you're having a race, and you're at the head of the pack, and somebody is edging up behind you. You could be in the middle of the pack and somebody, we're not discussing, but this scenario we all have, and you see that guy is starting to pass you. And then you rev your engines and you start speeding up, and you never ran this fast in your life. You know, I've never done this before. And then again, that guy eclipses you, and then you do it again. And you win the race. Did I speak about something which we don't know? This is very, very common. And we look at the numbers after the race has been won, and we see how you ran. You by far surpassed your point of excellence. And your friend says to you, wow, I didn't know I had that in me. And you say, neither did I. Right? Whether you admit that to the friend or not is irrelevant. But what happened was the jealousy brought out the best in you. Let's look at the words of the Seporna. The Bonega Manochi Kimoyachoisi Mimena Shebekinos Yerech Chaverosi Yisoirer Hateva. It will prime the pump, and it will bring me to a place that was dormant in me and make me a different person. That is the power of Kina. What's the matter?
And am I having 6 children? It didn't do that?
No.
So why not?
1 second. Because it's an excellent question. But I'll explain the answer to the question.
What's the question?
He asked an excellent question. He said, what about the fact that Leah had 6 children and she has none? Why does Bilhah make her more exasperated than Leah? Right? Am I expressing your question correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. That's such a good question, but it has an answer. I'm the one who put her in this spot. A ripoff. A tiskul. I don't know how you say that exactly right now in English, but that's really, how do you say that in English?
Frustration.
Yeah, but it's worse than that, right? But I'll use the word frustration. Okay, but it really gets under. You know, I have all the power, and almost did it, but it works for everybody I help. It works for, and not for me. So that's Habei, right? Habei. So this is the setup. This is the subject which I would like to explore. So now we have at least a handle on understanding that there could be good kina and there could be bad kina. And we have to teach ourselves to have good kina. You know, when I was a teenager, I had some friends who were taller than me, and they were able to slam dunk. And I wasn't. Was I jealous of them? Why wasn't I jealous of them? Because it's what?
Can't do anything about it.
But not only that, you know, I'm not even in the running. You know what I mean? It's not, as the Or Chaim says, the pauper doesn't have a desire to marry the princess. There's no, he can slam dunk, I can barely get on the court, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have this slam dunk issue, you know what I mean? The par is too great. But when you see that somebody else did it, and here it is, if he did it, you can do it too. Right? I'm sure you've heard that. And sometimes people say to themselves, no, I can't. And that is becoming a refrain in today's generation. People say, I'm limited. Does that sound nice? I'm limited. What are they trying to say? I have no need to aspire to strive. That's what they're saying. It's not true. It's not true. When we show you all the people that did it, well, and here's where things get complicated. You have to be in the person's realm that this person was just like you and he did it, so you could do it too. But if you say you could be a superstar, the person doesn't see from where he is today becoming a superstar, so he's not jealous. I'm only jealous when I feel that I'm in the realm. And if I feel that I did my best, and somebody else did their best, and they got the job, what am I supposed to say? So there's a confusion over here. Bishleima, let's go back to the race. He passed you and you passed him and he passed you and this is going on, you're neck and neck and neck and you ended up losing. How do you walk away from that race? So if I was the parent of the child, the reason why I would say this is if I was the parent of the child is because I'm an adult. So I'm mature and I think rationally. Right? But if I was the guy doing it, even at the same age, perhaps it would be otherwise. I'll say, so what you lost? Look at your numbers. You have excelled far beyond your potential. You have expanded and become a greater runner. Right? Why doesn't that work?
Because that wasn't the goal. The goal was to win the race.
Oh, so you know what you are? An American. Okay? It's a good thing that American isn't a four-letter word, yes?
Someone once said that the most defining thing about a person is not how they react to winning, but how they react to losing. In other words, it's like you do your best learning when you've lost, when you failed. Because in other words, if you reflect upon it, in other words, it's like if this person were to reflect upon it, they beat all of their whatever
Limits.
Exactly. They beat their limits. So therefore, they've proven, in other words, that they can exceed their limits. So that, in other words, can provide tremendous motivation for the next time.
Okay. So fine. But you said it's true. But what he said is true too. So I'm going to address his issue with the morale. And I really, by what I'm saying now is extremely important. Extremely important, and it's important for everyone. Ezehu hagibor hakovish es yitzray. Why should that be? Why say Ezehu hagibor? The guy that can lift 400 pounds. Why do we have to be so lofty and spiritual? Ezehu ha'asher. Whoever's in the Fortune 200. What's wrong with that?
It's the definition definition are you defining Gibor and how are you defining Usher?
So, what is lacking in the definition? I thought the amount of zeros is how you define it. No, isn't? I'm an American, right? How did you define the word usher?
What's the goal in being an Usher?
Comparing yourself to somebody else.
Speak to Mr. Gates.
It's out of my realm.
1 second. The guy. Excuse me. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The number one guy. What's his goal?
This question, does he know his goal?
I asked you. What is his goal? What does he think his goal is? He already's there. I'll quote Rabbi Zev Leff,
Make sure
just
that
on your point, and we'll try to take it from there. He said, I one time saw a lady who had a T-shirt that said, the person who dies with the most toys wins. He said, wins what? But let's leave that for a minute. We'll go to the Maral, and I think that your question will be answered at least in part. The Maral says that strength is subjective because I'm the strongest boy in my class, okay? And you're great, but you have a class of 25 kids. Then you go to a different school and there's 85 kids and you're only average. Did you lose your strength? Well, you're not a Garrett. You're not a keeper anymore. So if we're speaking about qualities, those qualities have to be inherent, and these are his words, with you all the time. I can't be rich and not have my money with me. Right? It used to be, before the iPhone way of paying, there was a credit card way of paying. And before that, there was a bank check way of paying. I don't know how far back we have to go until we get to gold coins. I'm not talking about bit ones either. Anyways, the bottom line is that if you're a rich man and you don't have your money with you, you're called an ani and you can take tzedakah. So how can you be an usher? If you're samer bechelkoi, it's with you all the time. If your strength is mineu bay, then it's there the whole time. So when we want to know, now we're going to go right now to this, what I call a wrong argument between the two of you, because he's talking about one thing, he's talking about something else, you're not talking at each other. I would just like to clarify this issue. He's talking about objective, and you're talking about subjective. If I won, and I'm going to use this as a mashal, it's not my mashal, could be it's the Chafetz Chaim's, I don't remember whose it is. There was this kid who was a natural musician, and he lived in the kfar, and at night, what people wanted to do, they would listen to him play his instrument, and they decided this guy is really good. They're going to collect money from the people in the small village, and they're going to send him to the conservatory in the big city, and be mitkadem. Sure, they collect the money, they send him to the conservatory, and let's say he plays violin. So the guy says, okay, play. So he puts the violin, he says, you're not holding it right. Put your chin like this. Excuse me. No, your hand has to be. You guys have no appreciation. And he leaves the conservatory because there nobody appreciates him. And he goes back to the village where they think he's really good. That's us. Okay? That's us. When somebody says, you could fix this midah, and you say, what'd you say? Go back to the village. That's what's going on. So, a person who won, did he really win anything? Tomorrow there'll be somebody that much better. His guy, did he really win something?
Yes.
Yes. He is better today than he was yesterday. That's objectively he has grown. So this is where there's a confusion in people's minds between these two subjects. So the Sipurna over here is telling us something amazing. Telling us the Kina Seifrim Tar B'Chochma, stop looking at others. Use others as a way to prime your own pump. What did Rachel do? She put herself into a position that she should daven harder, she should cry harder, and do whatever she can to make it happen. She put herself under lachatz in order to be successful. That's what Kina is supposed to do. Kina is a motivator. Kina is not a way for you to sulk that he took your item. That's the point that I'd like to share with you tonight. And this is what the Sipurna says, and he really says it similarly by Sarah and Hagar, without getting involved in the nuances of the different. And this, I believe, is such an important nekuda. We have people, and we see people, instead of being jealous of them, learn from them. It's a very simple thing. You see somebody, somebody told me once about somebody, says, you know him? He's really special. So what's so special? I said, I see he never misses saying amen to a bracha during daven. So I said, is it so hard? He said, nobody does it. Something wrong with this conversation. I asked you, is it hard? What did the person say? Nobody does it. You're a loser. You're a loser. He does it. Instead of idolizing him and removing yourself from him, he's slam dunking. Don't say that. Just move forward. Take a piece of it. I believe this is an important nakuda. We all have our situations where we think that somebody outshadowed us, they outmaneuvered us. Learn from the situation. Instead of having it be his against yours, you're just like the person saying he has 5 children and I have none. Hayat Hashem tiktzor. When it comes to children, we all understand you're jealous that he has 5 kids and you have none. He has $1 million and you have none. HaKadosh Baruch has plenty of money. No shortage. If he wanted you to have it, you would have it. You don't have it, it's because he doesn't want you to have it. So we believe, and we believe it. But we just take it out of the context that we are familiar with in order to be able to sulk the way we would like to. The beauty of this vart, which is not really mine, is that this thing, which is the source of destroying humanity, Kina is the source of the destruction of humanity. From Cain and Hevel, from the Nachash. It can be the source of personal growth. But we'll be Zaycha to learn from Rachel Imenu to be Mekane L'Shem Shamayim, and it should bring out the best in us. And if you win the race, not bad. Okay.
Right.